Fightful MMA coming at you with our UFC 261 post-fight recap. There were 5 fights on the main card, all of them ended via finish.
All the superlative.
3 due to strikes and 2 by leg injury. One strange, the other flat out devastating. Some careers were propelled forward last night and some may be over. We got a lot to talk about. Let's go.
UFC 261 went down Saturday, April 24th, and it went down at the Jacksonville Arena in Jacksonville, Florida, to a capacity crowd.
First time in a long time the UFC had a full house to play to, and man, all the fights delivered. We're talking about the main card right now, but pretty much every fight on this card was a banger.
Yeah, it was so exciting, and I feel like it was even more exciting because you heard the crowd right from the beginning, from the first fight, and just the eruption of the crowd, like it just made it just that much more crazy.
Yeah, I had gotten used to watching the fights with no crowd. No fans in attendance, and I kind of liked it because you could hear the corner work, you could hear the fighters going at it even when they were talking to each other. But there is something about having a packed house screaming for blood. It's part of the sport, and I'm not mad that the fans are back. I know the UFC is happy about it.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It's good to say this. The gate was $3.3 million. Arena record. We broke the arena record.
So the first fight on the main card was a light heavyweight bout between Anthony Lionheart Smith and Jimmy Crute. And the first weird finish of the night.
Yeah, I'll say.
Yeah. So in the beginning of the fight, Smith was landing a really nice jab over and over on Crute, messing up his eye. Crute was going after Smith's legs, and the commentators were like, yo, Smith has to watch that lead leg. It's getting chewed up. And then there was a kind of weird role reversal. Anthony Smith threw one leg kick, catching Crute right behind the knee, and he shut it down.
Yeah, and we've seen this before. This isn't the first time that we've seen an injury like this go down. And what went down? His foot went down.
Yeah, his foot went all the way down. Crute, right after the kick, he immediately could not post on his foot. He was wobbled. He made it to the end of the round and dragged his ass to his corner with this weird steppage gait, zombie walk.
Yeah, no, he made it to the end of the round. I didn't. I couldn't watch at this point because I'm like, oh gosh, it's going to bend in a way that I don't want to see.
Yeah. I'm watching, I'm like, yo, he's going to break his foot off at the ankle.
Yeah.
Like, he had no use of his foot. And it's a condition called common peroneal nerve palsy, inspired by trauma. Inspired by a kick. It just shuts down the peroneal nerve, and the fighter has no use of their leg or foot, basically.
Yeah, and I was thinking, I'm like, I've heard this term before, and not too long ago, the same injury happened to Sean O'Malley. Remember when his leg went dead against Marlon Vera?
Yeah, and O'Malley was playing it off like, oh, it was a lucky kick. My foot, like, giving Vera no props for the technique. Well, this is now the third time I remember seeing this, because the same thing happened to Henry Cejudo when he fought DJ.
Yeah.
His leg was shut down for about half a round, and eventually feeling came back, and he went on to win that fight.
Yeah, I have to say,
astoundingly.
I know, the Crute injury, though, that was the worst I've seen, because his leg was so wobbled, and he didn't even care.
No.
He was like, I'm still going to fight with one leg. I don't even care.
So
that was pretty crazy.
The visual was the worst. He literally looked like a zombie going back to his corner, and in his corner, he was trying to get the doctor to let the fight go on. He's standing up, he's like, yeah, let's go, and he's wobbling on the leg.
Oh, it was hard to watch.
The doctor did the right thing calling the fight.
Oh my gosh, what a perfect stoppage by that doctor. Thank you for not having us go through with watching that, because we knew something was going to break.
Yeah, and Crute said he was going to go out for round 2 and pull guard because he couldn't put any weight on the leg. I'm glad we didn't have to see that happen. So a big win for Anthony Smith.
Yeah,
Crute,
for sure.
His stock doesn't go down too much in this loss because he still looked good in the fight, and while it's a bizarre injury, it's an injury, so it's not like he could have kept fighting.
Yeah, well. On to the next fight, which, speaking of odd injuries, this fight didn't go past 17 seconds. And I believe that Uriah Hall hardly mounted any offense, if any.
No.
Just one defensive move to the one offensive move by Weidman, which was a kick.
Jesus Christ. So, it was basically the exact same circumstance under which Anderson Silva broke his leg against Chris Weidman's knee years and years ago. Weidman threw the leg kick and he wound up on it. I mean, this was a full power leg kick.
Yeah, first strike of the round.
Yeah.
So
only
all
strike
the
thrown in the
power
fight.
in the world.
And I think there was enough flexion in Hall's leg that all the muscle and bone were taut in there, and Weidman just broke his leg off and it snapped around Hall's leg. Weidman tried to step on it after the break and then he just collapsed to the canvas.
Oh my gosh, very hard to watch. I looked away again. I know I was so squirmish this night.
Yeah,
I
this
was
is
just
not
like,
a matter.
man, I just can't watch any of this.
This is not a matter of being squirmish. Though. This is one of the most devastating injuries you see in combat sport.
It's heartbreaking.
And I feel so bad for Weidman because he looked so good physically coming into this fight.
On the hype after his last win, after having, a string of losses, just coming back and just having that fire reignited in him.
Mm-hmm.
We were looking for maybe a run at the title again.
I mean,
That's what he was thinking.
That's what Weidman was saying. I don't know if I thought Weidman was going to recapture the title, but what started off as a fight with this goofy beef about Long Island's not really part of New York, Hall was saying at the press conference, and I think John Morgan asked Weidman about it. He's like, yo, you said Long Island's not part of New York. And Weidman was kind of like, yo, you're trying to actually turn this into a beef. I'm here to try to mount another run for the title. Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
And I think this might be career-ending, this injury. I mean...
I know. It was so heartbreaking to see him getting stretchered out, and then he had his arm raised. We're like, oh my gosh.
And I got to say, a friend of mine texted me, like, right after this happened. He wasn't watching, but he saw it on Twitter. He's like, yo, did you see? I'm like, of course I saw. I'm like, I'm sick right now thinking about it. He's like, yo, was he screaming on the ground? And I'm like, no. Weidman yelled one time and then just held it down. And I can't even imagine the kind of pain that injury causes, that gruesome leg break.
His face was just almost purple with pain. Yeah.
But Weidman is a tough motherfucker. I just don't know if, at his age, with the recovery time, if he could come back from this.
Yeah, I mean, you saw how the injury that Anderson Silva had from the same scenario, just it being Weidman causing it. He came back and he didn't seem like the same.
No.
At first. And
mentally he wasn't the same fighter. He got on juice right after that. Maybe he was on before. I don't know, but
depressants, right?
Yeah, he was on antidepressants. Yeah. So
it's a very, very career-changing injury right now. I mean, he's in surgery.
He's in surgery today, or he's going into surgery today.
Yeah, we're filming this the next day, so hopefully he has a speedy recovery. Of course, we'd like to see him just recover, first and foremost.
That's it. I just want to see Weidman recover fully. I don't care if he fights again, what happens. I just want to get through the surgery successfully.
Yeah. So we wish him all the best.
That's it. Yeah. All the best to Weidman.
Yeah. Uriah Hall, man, he's ready to fight again.
He said, hey, if Chris comes back, he said, whatever place I'm in the division, I'll give Chris another fight. But I don't know if Weidman's coming back.
Yeah, well, we'll keep you updated.
Yeah.
All right, on to the title fights.
So, off of that gruesome leg injury, now we're watching 3 title fights. And it's kind of weird how you can feel literally physically ill watching the results of a fight. And within 5 minutes, we're talking about how come Shevchenko versus Andrade is not the co-main event. It's just you switch into another mode and you're watching fights. Yeah. I don't know what that means, but it's a strange psychological thing people have.
Right.
And why wasn't Shevchenko versus Andrade the co-main of the event?
Yeah, isn't it always by weight class first, and then you go heaviest to lightest?
Yeah.
I don't know. It was weird, but I know that they had a lot of other Chinese fighters on the card, so maybe they wanted to promote.
They want to get
Zhang
into
like
China's
that.
market for sure.
Yeah, and now is a great time. Namajunas is a game opponent, but we'll get to that. But I think maybe that had something to do with it. I'm not sure.
I'm not sure entirely either, but I think it's probably something like that.
Yeah, but either way, Shevchenko.
Versus Andrade.
Andrade, man. And Shevchenko just called it. Center pocket, whatever the pool. I don't play pool. Corner pocket?
Yeah. Corner, 8-ball corner pocket. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Something like that.
She called it.
Yo,
And she
Shevchenko.
thought she was going to out-grapple her. And I just was like, whatever. She's just talking the talk.
Yeah, that's
But
game.
She literally out-grappled her.
She took Andrade down 7 times. The commentators were talking about the size difference, which there is a size difference between Shevchenko and Andrade. There's a size difference between pretty much anyone and Andrade. She's short.
That hasn't stopped her before from slamming people on their heads.
She fought at 135 and did well at 135.
Yeah, so, I mean, this doesn't say anything other than Shevchenko is just on another level.
The woman is the consummate martial artist. She lives fighting. She finishes her training, goes out shooting. Game plan's probably thinking about how she's going to destroy the next woman they put in the cage with her. And then she goes and executes.
Yeah, and it's not even like her being cocky or anything like that. She's just being realistic.
Now, when she talks about fights, she's matter of fact. She's like, they want to do this, but I will stop them and destroy them. They cannot win. Yeah. And you're kind of like, yeah,
and
probably.
It's not, and she'll never be the type to, sorry to interrupt, she'll never be the type to just sit on her laurels and just be like, yeah, I'm the best and I don't need to work anymore. These ladies, they got nothing on me. No, she's constantly working. She didn't take Andrade lightly. She took this fight very seriously, but she trained not too much, not enough, but the Goldilocks amount.
Yes, the Goldilocks zone of training.
Yeah.
And they were saying she trains 1 session a day, like a 3-hour session, and that's how she gets her training in. I imagine she would have been in the gym 2-3 times a day, every day working specific areas, but she does all her training in one block, and I guess that's exactly what she has to do, because she beat Andrade in the area that everybody gave Andrade a shot in.
Yeah, for
They
sure.
said if they could clinch, Andrade could throw those hooks to the body, she could slam her, and Shevchenko just shut Andrade's clinch game down, took her down 7 times.
Oh my god.
And, that crucifix at the end.
Oh! I mean, she just has her path, and she takes her path, and she executes it and leads to victory. I mean, she's one of the greatest fighters of all time. I'm
Yes.
sorry. She is. Think about, true mixed martial artists. She's up there with the greats, and you cannot deny that at this point.
And I don't know why you'd want to.
Yeah. Her
So-
takedown sequence?
Takedown sequence. She came into the sport as a Muay Thai fighter. She was a striker. Everybody was scared of her hands. And over the years, you just saw her work her grappling more and more. And now her grappling is equally as scary as her striking. I mean, she said she has no weaknesses at the end. I'm sure she has a weakness, but we haven't seen it yet, with the exception of 1 round spent on bottom against Jennifer Maia.
Which was impressive.
The
for
woman's
Maia.
the woman's looked invincible at 125 pounds. Yeah. Now, the co-main event of the night, which was Weili Zhang versus Rose Namajunas.
Yeah, I thought this was going to be a much closer fight.
I mean, I thought
it was going to go either way, but I thought
didn't.
Weili was going to eke out the victory, but slightly.
I thought Zhang was going to overwhelm Rose and take her out within 3 rounds.
Wow.
But here's the thing, with Rose, her potential is huge, and she's realizing her potential now. She's the 2-time strawweight champ of the world, right? But for me, the problem with Rose is, I think, is her head. I think sometimes she messes herself up mentally and doesn't fight as well as she could. I'm always counting her out.
That's what I'm saying.
But Rose was too much for Weili Zhang, and knocked her the fuck out with the kick that knocked Zhang out. It wasn't even a power kick where Rose winds up and swings. It was just a little switch, bip, bip, front high kick to the head.
So fast.
Right on the jaw. And you saw Zhang go down, and I'm like, oh, is she out? Yeah. She's kind of awake. Rose followed up, couple hammers. I thought they stopped the fight. a few shots too early, personally.
Really?
Well, so did Zhang.
Yeah. She looked out to me.
I don't think she was going to win, but I think if you let Rose mash her head in a little more, there's more of a stamp on the victory. There's no doubt. Now people are going to be like, oh, Wade was early, Weili wasn't out, which she wasn't, but...
Yeah, she wasn't intelligently defending herself, and that was kind of where the stoppage came in.
Right. I don't think she was given enough time to try to intelligently defend herself. Nevertheless.
Debatable. Yeah, I mean, the ref was well within his rights to stop the fight at that point.
It wasn't a bad stoppage.
Yeah.
Not at all, because...
But for someone like Weili, she wanted more time.
Yeah, she said
So,
after the
yeah,
fight...
I get it.
She was like, yeah, it was a little early.
So,
I was still conscious. She was kind of like,
okay.
she's like, fuck
yeah,
you,
I know,
Keith
that
Peterson.
Was,
Ah!
She's like, what happened? And
Yeah.
I don't know. Grasping at straws.
Yeah,
I think it was stopped fine. But anyway.
Bottom line, I will never doubt Rose again.
But who's next for her?
For Rose, you were saying Mackenzie Dern would be a good fight for Rose.
Yes. I don't know where we are in the rankings, though. She's got a couple more fights ahead of her.
Like 8?
Esparza's up there right now.
I think Rose beats Esparza easy.
Yeah, that's a rematch. That's a rematch because that was the title fight, the inaugural title fight.
Yep.
That Rose kind of just buckled under the pressure.
That, and also I think now Rose she doesn't look like the most physically imposing woman in the world, but I think she is much physically stronger now. She's probably training different.
Yeah, but matchups that I do want to see in the future, definitely want to see her go against Dern. If Ibas gets a couple wins, want to see her fight Ibas. That would be awesome. And Esparza, the rematch.
Yes, I would go with the Esparza rematch first, actually. I think it makes more sense in the rankings, too, right?
Yeah, I think so. Let us know what you guys think.
Yeah, that's a good point, because I don't really know. Who do you want to see Rose fight?
Which she's the best.
She is the best. She said that repeatedly before the fight.
Hey,
and
worked,
after the
man.
fight. She is.
Yeah.
She's not wrong. She's not lying. She is the best.
Yeah, but you know who is the best right now? Trevor Whitman.
No shit.
Man,
Trevor
'cause
Whitman
not
stays
only-
winning lately.
Yeah, not only did he get a spectacular first-round knockout out of Rose, he got a spectacular knockout of Jorge Masvidal, something we don't see, ever?
Ever.
He's been knocked out,
Once, like early in his career.
Yeah, 13 years ago or something like that. You don't see that. And, man, you got to give it to Trevor Whitman.
Yeah, look, his fighters, he's got...
His camp.
He works with, 3 fighters now. Justin Gaethje, Kamaru Usman, and Rose Namajunas. And I think whatever he is doing over there, that small group approach, it's paying dividends for his fighters because they're all looking really, really good.
Yeah. Well, speaking of really good, the headliner.
Yeah. Kamaru Usman.
Oh, man. it hurts.
Street Jesus Jorge Masvidal.
Right here.
Joy really wanted Masvidal to win.
He's one of my favorite fighters. I mean, he's so entertaining. Like, come on.
He is.
Has such a history. He's been in so many wars. He's done so many cool things, except for get a title. So now he gets his proper shot because Usman wanted it that way. So he got what he wanted. And, man, Usman just looked so good.
Usman looked really good. And you could tell when Masvidal came into the cage, he was in fight shape. One thing I respect about Masvidal, I've seen him over the years, he never looks like he's taking any weird supplements. I think he's a natural fighter, just a born fighter. And he has managed to, through fighting, he's parlayed a fighting career from literal street fights, sleeping in his car, to 2 UFC title shots, the BMF belt, which is kind of nonsense, but it's kind of cool. He's making money now. He's getting sponsorship endorsements. He is one of the biggest MMA success stories you could ever look to find.
Yeah.
So I'm a big fan of Masvidal. But I thought the fight was going to go down the same way the first went down. I thought Usman was going to take him down, get a decision win, and I thought it'd be the least spectacular fight on the whole main card.
Yeah, but wow, Usman just...
Fucking wrong.
Usman showed us what he's been working on.
The hands.
Oh my gosh.
In the Gilbert Burns fight, Usman dropped Burns with a jab twice before he finished him off.
That was crazy.
But I didn't think he could do something like that to Masvidal. I thought Masvidal's striking was going to be far superior.
Yeah, and I didn't think that Masvidal would be there to get hit. But, man, Usman just stands right in the pocket, and he just wound it up. He hit it, wound it up, just hit the perfect shot, and just dropped Masvidal like that.
And you could see Masvidal trying to stay conscious. This was literally the perfect right hand. Usman kind of fakes with left and just comes through full extension. Bah! Through Masvidal's face, and there's this grimace on Masvidal's face as he's going down. He's like trying to fight unconsciousness. 2 hammer follow-ups, and you just see his face go blank, and you're like, yo, it's done.
Yeah. Whew.
And after the fight, they seemed very respectful.
Yeah, I was surprised.
I was very surprised.
But, yeah, Masvidal handled his loss like champion. Like the
really well.
BMF champion that he is.
Yeah, Masvidal's good on the mic, and he just got knocked the fuck out.
Yeah, and Usman did a decent job. Like, I'm usually not a fan of him on the mic, but man, he's got Francis Ngannou in his corner. That is just some cred in and of itself.
Large human being cred right there.
I know, like no one's messing with him. And how do you not have respect for Ngannou? Like everyone just has so much respect for him. So and he's his biggest cheerleader, like physically.
Yeah,
and
he's
literally,
the largest cheerleader.
But between that and just paying his respects to Masvidal, saying like he made him better, and he did. Look at Usman now. Not only is his wrestling like a problem, like he said.
Yeah.
Now his hands are like really scary. So
yeah,
I don't even know what's next for him. I know Colby Covington was doing his thing, running his shtick.
So Colby Covington is being interviewed by Megan O'Leary, and you can just see the disgust that she has.
She hides it
She's
well.
She's trying to just
tell.
hide it. She's like, her nose is crinkling. She's like, get me
back.
away from this guy. But I don't want to see that fight. Honestly,
I know.
The biggest, I don't have a problem with it, but my take on Usman, great fighter. He fucking bores me to tears. Like, seriously. All his fights are good, and you can't deny his talent, work ethic, none of that. And I still think he's fucking boring. I don't know why, because I really like GSP, and he has a similar, like, tactical approach to Usman. I just don't like Usman. But I also don't like Covington at all.
Yeah.
And I don't want to watch the two fight each other again. The first fight was really good, but I don't care. I was more invested in Masvidal versus Usman, because Masvidal brings that excitement to the table, that swagger, whatever it is.
Yeah.
If this is the fight they're making, I guess it's the right fight, but I'm not here for it.
Yeah, well, upcoming we got Leon Edwards versus Nate Diaz now coming up. For Leon Edwards, I believe if he beats Nate Diaz, that should be a
that was supposed to be
a shot at this point, right?
That was supposed to be a shot, but now
what's going on with Covington? I feel
don't
like
know.
this should be for Edwards, but I don't know.
I would rather see Edwards versus Masvidal.
Yeah, especially the performance he was given, the looks he was given when he was going against Muhammad. He looked sharp and like
dangerous.
Yeah, with those kicks, and his striking was just so crisp. Like that's gonna be pose a threat to Usman.
Yeah, Covington. It's gonna be rinse and repeat. The same thing's gonna happen. Covington's gonna get overwhelmed by Masvidal, and he's gonna lose, which I'll be happy about. But for whatever reason, I'm just not amped up for that fight.
Yeah, well, I guess we'll see what happens. They didn't make the fight official yet.
No.
It seems like they're leaning that way, but maybe Leon Edwards will put in a spectacular performance and maybe just change their minds. So we'll see what happens. And we'll keep you posted with that. So that's it for the main card. Thoughts?
I mean, I think it was one of the best cards, if not the best card I've seen all year. I still feel really bad for Weidman, and I'm very happy that Shevchenko got to show again how dominant she was. 10 out of 10 marks for this card.
Yeah, so happy for Rose. That knockout was spectacular. So not only was the main card amazing, The prelims.
Yo.
A couple of fights that we have to talk about really quick. On the main prelims.
Yep. The prelims. Yo, we got Pat Sabatini coming into the UFC. First fight in the UFC, and he just put a grappling clinic on against Tristan Connolly, an opponent we know is tough as nails, because he fought that Pahea Capoeira dude at 170 pounds.
That was crazy.
On like 2 days' notice, and he outlasted and defeated him.
Yeah, so he was coming in with some hype. But man, Sabatini mixes his wrestling pedigree with some awesome jiu-jitsu. That combination is a problem.
Like, you could see the positional control and the transitions that Sabatini was shelling out during that fight were super impressive. Because Connolly, I believe, is a black belt too. And Sabatini just had him all sorts of tied up for those first 2 rounds.
What a spectacular performance. Great debut. Can't wait to see his next fight.
Yeah, definitely. Randy Rude Boy Brown versus Charles Cowboy Oliveira.
This was the headline or the prelim?
Yeah, this was like the main prelim or whatever. And we got to see a submission you almost never see. Randy Brown finished the fight via one-armed rear naked choke. I mean...
Crazy. To Oliveira.
Yeah, and Oliveira's tough, really good fighter.
Yeah.
Once Brown got that arm wrapped around, grabbed the back of Oliveira's shoulder, started bringing the elbow back, you could see on Oliveira's face, he was like, oh, this is bad.
Yeah.
And Brown, eventually he switched to try to go for the traditional rear naked choke, but he didn't need to. Oliveira was already tapping.
Crazy.
Also, shout out to Brown for some really good in-cage promotion afterwards. There was some bad blood or a dust-up prior to the fight. So Rogan's like, yo, Randy, what happened between you and Oliveira? And he's like, I'm streaming it on Twitch. That's how you get people to jump on your Twitch channel.
Smart. Yeah. One thing that I'm curious about, for example, Sean Brady, someone that we talked about a fight previously, he has a technique where he does a one-armed guillotine. I'm curious to see if Randy Brown, this is something that he works on, or it's just, something that spur of the moment happened.
Yeah.
It's like a one-armed rear naked choke, like, in his, like...
That's in his
repertoire?
toolbox, in his repertoire.
I don't know. We're going to shout him out.
Yeah, we're going to try to tweet at him, see if he'll get back to us, maybe because we're all from New York. That'd be cool, and we'll ask him if he talks to us. Early prelims also delivered. The first fight on the early prelims was absolute insanity.
Yeah, I mean, this just goes to show you that you need to start watching the fights from the beginning, because the crowd knew that too. The crowd went crazy. I was just... Like, I had the fights on, I was just getting some stuff ready, and then all of a sudden I hear, like, this fight start, and the crowd's just going nuts. That's because these two ladies put on a crazy performance. You have to watch this fight and the second fight on the early prelims. So, definitely check them out.
And lastly, also the least important matter of the night, Jake Paul was in the building, spurring the crowd to chant, "Fuck Jake Paul."
Several times throughout the night.
Many times throughout the night, and I fully support that sentiment. But DC got all up in Jake Paul's face and was like wagging the finger in his face. DC had been talking about the disrespect that Paul's camp had shown to Tyron Woodley and just generally not liking Jake Paul, which is a feeling most people can get behind.
Yes.
But here's the question. DC and Brock Lesnar were working some pro wrestling angle when Brock was coming back to the UFC to hype like a heavyweight fight between them. Do you think DC actually hates Jake Paul and wants to slap his face like he said? Or is this a work? Is this some pro wrestling stuff?
I don't know. Jake Paul's brother was at WrestleMania, wasn't he? I heard. But I don't know if this is all a work. But to me, by him going up to him and causing that Twitter moment with the video and then people posting it and speculating, us talking about it right now, it's all giving him that clout. So it's all just helping his cause.
It really is.
Yeah, the fuck you Jake Paul chants or fuck Jake Paul chants that they were given, just raises his stock,
He's just
especially in the fight business.
He's
so,
counting money. He's
yeah,
like,
it's like we just have to like ignore him, and maybe he'll go away. Is kind of like the idea that we need to get behind.
If you really want Jake Paul to go away, stop talking about him.
Yeah, stop saying his name.
Lastly, because we always forget, we got to put the comment shout out now. Best comment from our last week's video. So we're going to put that right here. And one time we're actually going to remember to read it out for you. But for now, here it is. Comment shout out.
Yeah, but we'll just give you the gist of it. NFTs was the last topic that we talked about Khabib's NFT that he released this month. Craziness, because he sold a lot, and they were going for a lot of money. Insane
amounts of money. Khabib printed 3 editions or minted 3 editions of the NFT, like a gold, a platinum, and a diamond. There were 290 gold editions going for $2,900 each. They're pretty much all gone.
Yeah, as far as we can tell.
Yeah, the platinum, most of those are gone. There were 29. They were $29,000 each. The diamond edition,
$29,000 each?
Yeah, for the platinum. The diamond edition,
the one that our comment shout out was saying that McGregor should buy.
Yeah, it's where if you buy it, you get to meet Khabib. There's one it was going for like 125 or 130 ETH, and that's about $300,000. Yeah. So we know McGregor likes to spend money because he bought that bar where he punched that old dude, and apparently has barred that old dude from going back into the bar. It's like a tongue twister. Maybe McGregor will buy the NFT, go to Dagestan, and like our comment shout-out winner said, Khabib would teach him some manners. But we don't know.
Yeah.
Do you like our shirts? We like our shirts. We finally got some merch printed up, so we are going to do a review on our own merch. Why?
Because we need to.
Not because we're going to sit here and like stroke our egos like we got merch, even though it's awesome that we got merch. But some of it's really good and some of it sucks. So we are going to do an unbiased review of our Teespring merch. And that way, if you want to support the channel, you want to buy a piece of clothing or a mug, we'll tell you what's good to buy and what's not.
Yeah, and speaking of unbiased reviews, we have a whole new series coming out. This will be part of it, that we're going to be doing reviews. We're going to be doing real reviews. And just check back with our channel to see when they come out. We'll be working on that soon. If you want to stay up to date in the meantime, just follow us on Instagram. That will give you the in-between bits. So yeah, check us out there. And comment shout out, just leave your comment down below. Next video, we'll shout you out if it's the best.
We decide what is best in life. I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. Guys, this is it. Thank you for watching our video. Like Troy said, like, comment, subscribe to show support if you liked it. And if you didn't like it, let us know in the comments. Tell us that you thought we sucked. We like to hear it all, okay? Alright guys, signing out. Fight Fuel MMA till we see you again.